There's many people that have had a big influence on my career. In the early days, from the training point of view, obviously a guy called Dick Bainbridge, who used to train pointers in near Berkeley in Gloucestershire. Brilliant horseman, brilliant trainer with very moderate horses, and I learnt a lot from him. I literally know that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I was now. I learnt a lot from him. And obviously, from running a business and a friend, and just General Paul Barber was the most amazing man. Sadly lost him 2 years ago, but always been indebted to him. I mean, he was a brilliant man. And, I used to go and have a drink with him every evening after evening stables, have a chat. If I had problems, I asked for his advice. He literally was like a father to me in a lot of ways, and it was so good to be able to give him those 2 Gold Cup winners and all the wonderful winners we had over the years. He had belief in me, and, I'm always been indebted to him.
Reflecting on last season, by your own high standards, maybe it was a challenging season?
It wasn't. I mean, if you look at the bare bones of it, really, we had 99 winners, £2.5 million, over £2.5 million in prize money, which was surprising considering we only had 99 winners. We're normally over 120, and won Paddy Power Gold Cup, Coral Gold Cup, 3 Grade 1s. We had a good season, but to our standards, probably it wasn't as good as it could be. And I suppose I never felt the horses particularly well for some reason until the end of the season. They all sort of came good, but definitely January and February we were really struggling. I don't know, a lot of horses were bleeding I never had before, and not bad bleeds, but just would have a little bleed. Never put a finger on what it was, and it was just one of those seasons. And I think in 34 years it was the most challenging season I've ever probably had. But we kept going forward, and it came good at the end. And at the end of the day, we probably had quite a good season, but it wasn't quite as good as what we had done. But sometimes expectations are too high, and if you look at a football team like a Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, wherever, they can't win the Premiership every year. You have a good team, and then things change. And then somehow you've got to build that team back up again. So it's always revolving, and there are other good teams out there, which there are at the moment. So we've got to get our team back again to the strength we had before, and that's not easy.
So, a couple of things to pick up on there. You've referenced football. Obviously, you're very close to Sir Alex Ferguson. Did you turn to him last year at any stage when things were tough?
Not really. We always have a chat because he's involved with several horses, and he's always there if you want any help. But I think you just basically got to keep your head down and keep doing what you do. Don't change things, and it always comes right.
And would he ring you to offer you advice, or if you've had a bad day or a good day, would you have an ongoing communication with him?
Sometimes have a chat on a Sunday morning, and we'd have a chat about things. It was more help to me back a day when I was having hassle with jockeys, and owners didn't want certain jockeys. And I remember the time when I had to make a decision between Sam Twiston-Davies and Harry Cobden. And contrary to anyone thinking Sam got sacked, Sam never got sacked. I had to make a decision. Did I let Cobden go, or did I keep Sam? We've done a fantastic job, and I would use him on anything, anytime now. He's a great guy and a great jockey, but I had a decision to make. A lot of people don't know that Harry is really related to the Barbers. He's part of the Barber family, and it was always going to be his destiny to end up riding for us. And I got to a point in one season I was going to have to let him go and lose him, or I took him on as number one. And I was getting plenty of outside advice and pressure from different people. And so I had to make it. And I remember talking to him about it on a Sunday morning. He said to me, never be afraid of making tough decisions. No decision is no good at all. You have to make tough decisions sometimes. Not everybody likes it, but you've got to do what you think is right and make tough decisions. And I had to part ways with Sam and took on Harry. Well, now looking back, it wasn't a bad thing to do because Harry's done extremely well and he's become champion jockey. But at the time, I felt bloody dreadful about it because Sam is brilliant jockeying. Since then, he has won a King George for us, and he's good at it. But sometimes, you get in those positions. It wasn't like he was a footballer and I could send him, on loan for 2 seasons somewhere to go and learn and then come back. It was either I had to make that decision in that time, and I always remember him saying, don't ever be afraid of making tough decisions. You've got to do what you feel is right.
Reflecting on last season, going into this season, have you made any decisions to move things forward? Have you had to make any tough decisions recently?
Well, you're always making a few tough decisions. We've got a completely new team of staff, really, as you well know. Charlie Davis has left and gone and joined Gallagher's. He's got out of racing. We decided racing wasn't for him, so I had to was looking for a new assistant, and Charlie St Quintin became available. I think he wants to train one day. He's had 2 years with Fergal and done a great job, and Fergal spoke very highly of him. I think he wants 2 or 3 years to learn, and he's probably going to do 2 or 3 years somewhere else, which and with our record with our assistants doing so well, it's obviously appealed to him. So we took him on as assistant trainer, and that's worked out well. But at the same time, George Edgedale, who'd been with Alan King for 2 years, his pupil assistant, wanted to come and have a chat as well, and so I was so impressed with him. I managed to take the 2 of them on. So I've got 2 assistants really. There's enough for them all to do. Olive, my daughter, has come on as pupil assistant, has replaced Natalie Parker, who's moved on, and lots of new staff and new people. So I think we've got a really good young team. The jockeys are all the same really, but it's nice to have George and Charlie on board, and Olive. And they're young, they're keen, they're enthusiastic, and that's what you need. So that's going to be a big plus this year.
And going into the new season, what's your sort of ambition and aims for this season?
Well, just to keep training winners. We've got, we're not too far off 4,000 winners, and I'd obviously like to do that. I keep on winning big races. I'm extremely competitive. We've got some nice young horses. And yeah, really looking forward to it. It was a bit of a blow losing Gordon and Sue Hall's horses and Neil and Alfie Smith's horses. I counted Gordon and Sue's quite as friends really, and I've done really well for them with Truckers Lodge and Ginner's Destiny, etc., and built up a nice team of horses. And obviously they were disappointed the way last season went, but that happens in races from time to time. So that's a bit of a blow, those horses. And Neil and Alfie Smith, I built up a really nice team of young horses for them, and they've done well. And I think they must have felt last year wasn't good enough, so they've moved as well. Life goes on, and you just put that behind you. And we've got quite a few new owners. We've got a lovely team of horses. I'm really looking forward to this season. And horses like Cardwell Potter, Khalif de Ballet, Regent Straub, Blue King Daru, Pic Dory. I could go on with. But that's without a lot of youngsters we bought. So. Yeah, it drives you every day. You want to do well, and when you have a little setback, that even makes you even more determined. So, yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, I was going to say what happened over the summer with a few people taking their horses away. Does that knock your confidence, or does that motivate you? Everybody
pays their own bills. Owners can do what they want. Them the horses whoever they want to. But I think if you build up a relationship with somebody, you've got to stick with them when they have perhaps not quite so good season. It can't be a championship season every time is related to football, but these things happen, and I wish them all the best of luck with the horses that they've gone elsewhere. And I spoke to all the guys who I'm friends with. They've got the horses, explained everything about them, so I haven't held back. And your life goes on, and just enjoy beating them when we can, if we can.
And you mentioned the championship. You've won 14 titles. Are you going for 15? Is that realistic?
Yeah, you go for 15 if you're in a position to do so, but realistically I can't see that happening this season. But look, if some of those good horses come, it's all about winning the big races to win the championship. It's not whether you've had 100 winners or 150 winners, it's basically you've got to win them big races. And when I had all those good horses years ago, Corto and Mastermind and Big Bucks, you'd win all them big races up to Christmas and it was nearly all over. It's way more competitive now. There's some very, very good young trainers out there with good teams of horses. And it is about winning those big races. And whether we're quite in that position to do that, it just depends. Look, come Christmas, if we had a chance, me, I'd be giving it everything. But I think this year would be tough. I think Dan will be very hard to beat this year. I know Willie's beaten the last 2 years, but everything's gone right for them. And Dan's built up a good, strong team of horses. And I think Dan will be very hard to beat this year. So realistically, I think it'll be impossible for us, but you know me, if we're in a position to give it a go, we'll give it a go.
If you could choose the 15th title or the 4,000 winners, what would you like to achieve most?
I think I'd like to train the 4,000 winners. I mean, obviously, of course, if we win a 15th championship, great, that would equal what Martin did, but whatever happens, I'm always be known now as 14 times champion trainer, so it's a number, isn't it? And yeah, you always want more, everybody wants more, but I've been very happy with what we've done, and I'm realistic enough now to realise as you said, you look at other sports, you can't always be at that top and win that premiership every single year. It's impossible. So now is to win as many races as we can. I love winning those big races. The pleasure I got from winning the Paddy Power Gold Cups, the Coral Gold Cup last year with Candid Kid on his debut, which was always been our plan, and Pic Dory winning those lovely races, and the young horses coming. That's what I enjoy as much as anything now.
Clifford's been with you almost since the beginning, and that is incredible to have such a long-term relationship. How does that work these days where, you know, Clifford's getting older, and are you still as close as you ever were?
Yeah, well, we're basically about the same age, and I always say as long as we're prepared to work hard and keep at it, things will keep going. And what we've got to learn to do is delegate a bit more. I keep saying to Clifford, you've got some younger guys now, use them. You know, and teach them your knowledge and just use them to your advantage. Don't have to do everything. You know, the knowledge he's built up in all those years he's been here and with David Nicholson is in second to none. And you know, the amount of horses that he's dealt with, and it's just that experience is invaluable. And he's a top man. You know, you just irreplaceable, really, from that experience. You know, and the thing is for me now is to manage his mileage, as it were. You know, try and just make things a bit easier for him, and use him to everybody's advantage. But he's second with legs and things like that. That's the thing. You know, he can pick those up before anyone else can, and that's a big plus. And as you get older, it's harder to deal with younger staff and all the new legislation. Everything's out there. It's not easy, but with the horses, it's second to none. And that's what I need, is someone who can deal with those horses and helps. When he's been there at my side for 27 years, as you say.
And if there was one day in your career that you could go back and have again, what day would that be?
I was thinking about this, you know, is it going to be the day that Neptune Clonge won the National? Amazing day. Or when Coulter won his 5th King George, was a day you'll never ever forget. I think when we had the 1, 2, 3 in the Gold Cup, which was Coulter, I think it was Denman, Coulter, Neptune Clonge. Or any time we have a 1, 2, 3 in the Gold Cup is just absolutely unbelievable, and I'll probably never forget that day.